Welcome into another episode of Two Guys and a Mic. I'm joined with Tony and Mike as usual. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe below. If you like what you see, maybe even give it a little click on the thumbs up. But guys, victory Monday for the San Francisco 49ers as they are heading to the Super Bowl for a rematch with the Chiefs. But we're not here to talk about a Super Bowl rematch talk. We're here to talk about how the teams got there. So let's start off with the 49ers, Detroit Lions. There is so much debate about this game, you guys. Like, so much debate about, did the Lions make the right calls? I mean, was this just destiny? Well, what was it? But
They called fucking Dan Campbell at halftime and said, "Hey, remember you're supposed to fucking lose? Oh yeah, let me make stupid ass decisions." Like, I don't care, Mike. I don't care what you said. Not talk conspiracy. It is, Scott. At this point, like the plays, the decision making. What? He was playing like that game was week 4. And that was a quote by Matt, by the way. I had to slip him in there. He was playing like it was week 4. This is the NFC Championship, bro.
okay.
Wow.
So Tony, before you get like that, one of the things is the Lions don't have the greatest kicker. Okay, so let's go over that first fourth down. Okay, so I'm always a firm believer in, like, take the points, take what you can. This first one, I understand why Dan Campbell went for it. I mean, he gets that first down. He's going to continue to melt the clock. They're up by 2 scores. And, I mean, like I said, that field goal isn't guaranteed to happen. The Lions this year, okay, here's some stats. So the Lions this year, when inside the 50-yard line, fourth down, if it's 4th and 3 or less, they've gone for it 20 times, converted 17 times for an 85% rate. The call was correct. The players just didn't finish the play. Reynolds should have cut that ball. That should have been a completion. There's no other way to look at it. I think Dan Campbell gambled. He gambled on his players, and his players failed him. I don't think it was the other way around on that play. Now, the second, fourth, I didn't agree with. At that point, all the momentum was for the 49ers, and you needed some points. He should have just tied it up. You're midway through the fourth quarter. Just tie it up and go from there and make it a 0-0 game, because the 49ers went down after that fourth down and they converted a touchdown to put them up by 10. You kick that field goal, even if the 49ers had gone down and scored, guess what? Detroit came down and scored again at the very end of the game. That game could have still gone into overtime had Dan Campbell. So I don't have a problem with the first fourth down attempt, but I do have a huge problem with the second round.
I think that's the only one we're talking about, Scott. Like the first one, cool, whatever. It's not fucking anything big. The second one, it's like everyone was confused. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
well, the kick would have been a 47-yarder had they decided to go for the field goal. So I mean, it's not like you're talking about, oh, do I gamble on a 63-yard field goal? It's a 47-yarder, which, yeah, it's still a good distance, but you look at a lot of the field goals, and 47 is kind of average, normal for what a lot of kickers are doing.
Well, don't forget, Moody missed a field goal 43 yards earlier in the game. He might have seen that and just thought, well, you know what, my kick, because Detroit's kicker is not that great. He didn't have the best season, and I understand maybe Dan Campbell just did not trust his kicker. But if that was the case, he should have been off the team a long time ago, and you should have brought someone else in that you do trust. Don't forget, you guys, this is the same coach against Dallas that went for the 2-point conversion 3 different times. He didn't even care it was on the 7-yard line. He still went for the 2-point conversion for the win. So I think Dan Campbell is just one of those coaches that he doesn't care what other people say. He's going to coach and make the decisions that he's going to make. And unfortunately, I felt like some of the decisions that he made did cost them the game. But with that said, the 49ers did turn it on in the second half. Let's be honest. Both sides of the ball, they turn it on, especially on offense. Tony, like, do you like what you saw from Purdy? Because I got some good Purdy stats that we're going to talk about.
Purdy played well. I mean, the first half was just abysmal, right? If you guys do that against the Chiefs, you're going to lose. Like, I don't, because it's gonna be a lot harder to come back. Well, I don't know with the Chiefs losing what's his name to the ACL tear. I forgot his name already. I can't even pronounce his last name. That might hurt them a little bit, but their defense is pretty solid. A lot more solid than the Lions' defense, in my opinion.
Well, he actually was on the 49ers.
Yeah. So I feel like if you guys do that again, I don't think you come back as easily as you did against the Lions. But no. I think they did turn it up. Purdy played well. He came back and he helped win the game. And it was the defense that really won it for you guys because it stopped the Lions from continuing that steamrolling they were doing in the first half. Which, in my opinion, or not my opinion, yeah, well, in my opinion, the Lions. What are you doing, man? You guys go 24-7 in the first half, and then you score nothing until like the last few minutes of the game.
It was less than a minute left before they got any points in the second half.
Like, try. It's like they weren't even trying. I don't know, man. It just, that game blew my mind because the Lions should have won. Bottom line. But they got the call at halftime. Said, remember, you're supposed to lose.
Yep. The Lions absolutely should have won that game. And I think this is kind of how I feel. You have to think about it. Okay. A lot of the Niners roster, they've been in situations like these. Okay. This is a very battle-tested team. The Lions, this is a new situation for them, especially for Dan Campbell. Okay. So I feel like there's always learning processes as you go along. And I think Dan Campbell is going to learn a lot from this game. That when it comes to the playoffs, especially this deep in the playoffs, it's time to stop making certain gambles. Does that make sense? And
I disagree.
Is a regular season game, I feel like, instead of treating this as a win or go home. Because really, they haven't really been in that situation.
Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Like, for me, you view it as a learning opportunity, right? I view it as an idiot coaching the Lions. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what he did all season to make it there. That's the most crucial decision. Your team is in a spot they have never been before in history. And you're going to make a decision like that? You're going to put that type of reputation on the line for what? To play like it's a regular? You should know. If you're that caliber of a coach, you should fucking know, dude. Period. There's no learning opportunity. You're in the NFC Championship. You should know. I don't take that gamble. Period. Because I'm already losing. You should not take that gamble. The first fourth down, cool. Second fourth down, that is not a gamble worth taking. You are losing. You're down by 3. Tie it up. Play it safe because the next game is the final game of the season. That's why I disagree.
Mike, let me know. What do you think? I think the Lions, once the momentum changed, I think the Lions went into panic mode and they made panic decisions. And again, Tony, this is what I say where it comes down to learning experience. When you listen to a lot of the like the after all the interviews after the game and everything with the press conference, all the Niner guys were saying the exact same thing. Like, okay, well, we're down. We know what we got to do. That they said there was no halftime speech. Nobody was panicking. Nobody was worried because everyone knows what their team was capable of. I just don't think Detroit knew how to close that game out. You know what I mean? Like, they went away from the outside run that had been working for them all game. When Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled, why was he running up the gut? When he's sitting there running for 8, 10, 12, 15 yards.
I don't think he got another touch after the fumble.
You know what? Maybe he. Are you sure?
And he by far was our most explosive player on the ground.
I thought just period. That guy gets the hands on the ball. He's electric. So some of the stats I did want to throw out there, you guys. So with Brock Purdy, these are some of his first half stats. Okay, QBR 37, completion percentage 47, yards per attempt 6.2, no rushing yards. Okay, second half. Now remind you, QBR is a score out of 100, 99 QBR in the second half, 81% completion percentage, 10.9 yards per attempt, and 53 yards on the ground. Now, he's also this is no one has this is what he did in the second half. I'll continue this, all right? 13 for 16, 174 yards, 53 rushing yards, a touchdown, a 132.8 passer rating. In the last 30 years, no QB in the last 30 years has thrown for 150 plus, rushed for 45 plus, completed 80% of their passes, and averaged 10 plus yards per rush and scored a touchdown. No, in the
with no turnovers.
With no turnovers. In the regular season are the postseason. The second half that Purdy had, literally, I don't give a shit. Like how Matt said, like Matt was talking about, oh, well, they got lucky on the IU bounce and he caught that. There is no comeback like the comeback that they had without some luck going their way. Like it's just, there's always, whether it be a penalty that happened on a bonehead play or a bounce on a tip pass that goes your way. Lamar Jackson caught his own freaking tip pass and ran the ball for 12 yards in the game versus the Chiefs. There's always things. There's always luck plays. Sometimes it's for the winning team. Sometimes it's for the losing team. And this just happened to be one of those situations where it fell San Francisco's way. And I'm excited. Now, I
hope they just don't shit the bed next week or in 2 weeks. I just hope they don't shit the bed. And what I mean by that is
come out slow like they did the last 2 games.
You got to come in guns blazing and maintain it. That's it. I hope the Niners demolish the Chiefs. I hate Patrick Mahomes now. After watching some of the videos of what happened in that game, I hope the Niners.
Now going back just a little bit to what Scott was saying about what the situations were in the locker room at halftime. They interviewed Bosa, asking Bosa about what the halftime speech was. And you know what he said? He said it basically was, do your job. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much the extent of what the speech was. Do your job.
And the Chiefs were like, and the Lions were like, I'm going to relax now.
and the Niners could not stop at anything at all. Third down in the first half.
Nope.
So 3rd and 12, and they're rushing, and they get a first down. 3rd and 18, and it's complete. You can't have those. You got to be able to stop them on 3rd down and get them off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Which they did. I mean, the Lions had 2 huge drops by Reynolds, one on the 4th down and one on that huge 3rd and 10. That was just, those are unacceptable. But one of the other things I wanted to talk to you guys about, and Tony, I know you haven't even mentioned this, so I don't know, maybe you haven't even thought about this. On that last drive that the Lions had, I would not have gone for the touchdown the way that they did. I would have gotten into field goal range because, remind you have all 3 timeouts. I would have gotten into field goal range with over a minute. I think there was like a minute and 15 minute and 20 seconds, right? And they were in field goal range. You kick the field goal, okay, to make it for a touchdown. Now,
yep.
You kick off, and I guarantee. I don't think the Niners are throwing on 3rd down. I think they're running and making.
Oh yeah, they're Niners are trying to knock that clock down.
Exactly. So you do that. You probably are getting the ball back, down a touchdown with probably 40 to 45 seconds left, maybe even 50. Okay.
Yep.
Where the Lions made a mistake was forcing that touchdown. Why they ran on 3rd down? Because once they ran on 3rd down,
wasted so much time, bro.
That was it.
They wasted their timeout.
Yeah, they used their timeout, and that was it. That at that point, when they decided to run with Montgomery, they basically also put their season on the line on Montgomery scoring that touchdown. Because he scores that touchdown, okay. I think there still would have been like how much time left? Maybe like 30 seconds.
I think it was like 42 or something like that. Some yeah.
But they had to use the timeout. So once they had to use the timeout, that was it.
They lost. Like, I mean, you could tell. I said they lost when they did the fourth down. When they went to that second 4th down and they didn't make it, they lost. I don't care what it says.
And what did I say? Yeah. Well, right after the 49ers scored that touchdown to cut the lead to 7, what did I text? I said, man, if the Niners get a turnover right now, this game's going to be over. What's the first thing that happens? Yep, Gibbs fumbles. I just want all the Niner faithful to know that I talked that into existence. And I'll give it a moment. Thank me. Okay, we're good now. Okay, so you guys got anything else you guys want to add to that game?
I do. It's kind of going to transition into the other game. Everybody wants to shit on Purdy. They have all season long. Now you have two other MVP quarterbacks in the playoffs right here between these four games. I'm just going to read through stats of all four anonymously. I'm not going to say who's who. Quarterback one, 25 of 41 for 273. It's a 6.7 average. One touchdown, no interceptions. 2 sacks for 13 yards. 0 rushing attempts. And he's 61% completion. Quarterback two, 30 for 39. 241. That's a 6.2 average. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. 2 sacks for minus 11 yards. Taking out, he had final stat line rushing with 6 attempts for 15 with a 67.9% completion. Quarterback three, 20 for 31, 267 yards, an 8.6 average, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 2 sacks for 9 yards, 5 rushes for 48, and a 64.5 completion percentage. Last quarterback, 20 for 37, 272 yards. It's a 7.4 average, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, sacked 4 times for 17 yards, 8 rushes for 54 yards, and a 54.1 completion percentage.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson down on the very bottom. He did fucking doo-doo. Right above him, Brock Purdy, he did pretty good. The guy above him was what? I think the first guy you mentioned, what was the first stats?
25 of 41 for 273, a touchdown, 2 sacks for 13 yards, no rushes.
That's Goff.
Yep.
So, Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson. Tell me I'm wrong. God.
No, you're right.
Yeah. No.
Look at those stats and tell me that Purdy was not comparable to Jackson.
Yeah, but here's the difference. The
defenses they're playing, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. They're playing from behind, so they're slinging the ball more.
I've been on mute this whole fucking time. God damn.
But you have a quarterback that has...
You got all kinds of noise, Tony.
Yeah. You got a quarterback that has the most average, 8.6 completion per or average per completion. He had behind Lamar Jackson and only by 6 yards. And actually, if you take out the 2 kneel downs that were minus 4 yards, he's only 2 rushing yards behind Lamar. And that was on 3 rushes versus 8 for Lamar. Better completion percentage. Didn't get sacked as much. Didn't lose as many yards. And Lamar's the front runner for the MVP.
Yeah. Well,
I want to see what Brock Purdy does when he doesn't have an all-star team. I don't disagree with Matt here. He has an all-star team around him. You have to succeed. They make him look better, right? If once you lose McCaffrey, once you lose Ayuk, once you lose Debo, once you lose those weapons, because at some point it's going to catch up to the Niners. You can't have all those all-stars. I want to see how he performs. That is what we're looking at when we talk about Purdy. I'm not looking at the now. Yeah, he may be great now, but he has an all-star fucking team. Like you look at Mahomes. He's come down a level, but he's still great for not.
And he don't have shit compared to what
he has nothing. He has nothing, but he's still good. He's still fucking Super Bowl. His wide receivers are like non-existent, and so when you
Rashee Rice, that's it.
He came out like the last 3 games.
Hey, no, Rashee Rice's second half, it has been really good. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes has the same weapons, but Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, you can't compare the two. Like
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Mike's trying to defend Brock Purdy as a whole. When we talk about Brock Purdy, like when I say we, I mean me and Matt, we're looking at the whole picture, including the future, where he's not going to have that all-star team. I'm putting scenarios in my head where he's playing on a team that's not all-star. I don't think he performs the same. To
argue with that, who's the veterans and who's not? Brock Purdy's the 3rd youngest quarterback to go to the Super Bowl. You got to remember that this guy is still learning. Okay, this is his first full NFL season starting. And something no
Yeah,
one
and I'm not saying he's bad. That's the point. You guys jump to assuming he's bad.
hold on. Don't forget about the injury he's coming back from. The UCL.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not elite. He has an all-star team that makes him good.
And no one is saying that he is elite. And that's the argument that upsets me, because every time you'd be like, yeah, look at the game Purdy had. Matt goes, well, he's not elite. He's not elite. You don't have to be elite to be successful. Trey Lance, first-round draft pick. How come he's not with San Francisco starting anymore?
Because he fucking sucks.
If he was that good, why is he not starting in Dallas?
Because he's not good. But that's the point, bro. We're not saying Brock Purdy is not good. We're just saying he's not this idol to worship.
I know, and no one's doing that. What I'm trying to say is that he does a good job running Kyle.
I'll put the fucking text messages, Scott.
Hold on. Listen. I've never once said Brock Purdy is elite. Not once.
Yeah, but you're like this all day.
Yeah. All right, you cannot tell me he did not put the team on his back.
No, he's good. He's good.
Both games.
He's
Both
good.
games.
I'm telling you, he's good. I'm not knocking him. That's the point. He deserves to be here. But it's like, how does he play how is Brock Purdy's play when he doesn't have an all-star team? That's what we're talking about.
And going to Matt always says Debo isn't shit.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny.
That's Matt's thing.
So you're saying there's an all-star team, but yet Matt always says Debo isn't shit.
I don't agree with Matt. I think Debo's above average wide receiver. He's very good, but he's not Ayuk. I think Ayuk is all-star.
Now, hold on. What I'm trying to say, what I always try to tell Matt is that you can't get mad that Brock Purdy got put in the situation that he's in.
We're not bad.
No, he's doing well, and we will see in the future what he does with the less supporting cast. McCaffrey's getting to that age where probably next year is probably going to his last real workload.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Williams is getting to the age where he's probably going to retire soon. Okay, he's still going to have Debo and Ayuk for a long time. I think those two stay around. He's still always going to have Kittle. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when he doesn't have that same offensive line and he doesn't have McCaffrey. Those are going to be the real changes that are going to come to San Francisco once they have to pay Brock Purdy. But the Trent Williams contract will be done, and the McCaffrey contract will be done. And you've seen what running back has not worked since Kyle Shanahan has come to San Francisco. I'm not saying they can replace McCaffrey, because McCaffrey is an elite. He's just elite, period. And you won't get the same.
He's the legend of history. That's McCaffrey. Yeah.
But what I feel the Niners will probably end up doing is what they had done before. They're probably going to use a couple different backs, and they're still going to be very successful running the ball. It won't be McCaffrey, but they will be very successful still running the ball long after McCaffrey's gone, because that's just...
I want to see what the Niners are going to do when they have to pay Purdy, because they're going to pay him, because if they don't, I would be mad if they don't pay him, right? He's earned it. But you can't pay everybody on that team.
No, you can't. There's going to be guys that are going to be gone. And I think even if Purdy wins the Super Bowl this year, I still don't think they pay him. He's only in here.
They won't pay him this year. They've already said Ayuk is their priority to sign this offseason. It'll be Purdy the following year.
Yeah, and then that's when we will get our answer is, will Purdy...
If Purdy gets hurt next season, you think they extend him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the injury too.
Yeah.
It's tough. But anyways, that's enough with this. I want to get into the Chiefs Ravens games, because I got a lot to say about Lamar Jackson, Mr. Matt's Mr. Obsession over there, because he's so fucking elite, but he's not. And one of the arguments I have made with Matt over and over, he doesn't listen to me, is that Lamar Jackson's style of play does not translate to wins in the playoffs. Period. He can't play from behind, because he can't throw the ball good enough to play from behind. Okay? And he got fully exposed against the Chiefs, because and honestly, let me revert back. I don't fully put this loss on Lamar Jackson, although he had some ugly turnovers. He had the fumble lost, and he threw an interception to the Chiefs. Like it looked like the Chiefs were in a huddle, and he just threw the ball at him. There were so many Chief players around, and on a second down, on top of that, like he's been in the league far too long to be making those type of decisions making. But Lamar Jackson now is 2-4 as a starter in playoffs. So Tony, what is your take on Lamar Jackson? Is he going to be the guy that can take Baltimore to a Super Bowl? Because I feel like this is the best team he's had since he's been in Baltimore.
Yeah. I think I'm on your side here. I've never been real high on Lamar Jackson. I feel like this year was a fluke, and obviously it showed, right? Like he did phenomenally throughout the year. But when it came down to it, when it mattered, he just got shit on. Like and he didn't. It didn't seem like he wanted it enough. And like I mean, throwing those interceptions and some of the decisions that he was making, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're trying to go to the Super Bowl. Like this is it. This is why they paid you. And I just feel like he's not going to get it done ever. Like this was his chance. This was his opportunity. I don't think they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
I think one thing that hurt them though too, and a lot of people probably aren't going to realize this, they had no run game at all.
They didn't try to develop one.
As a team, listen to this. As a team, they had 16 rushing attempts. 8 of those were Lamar Jackson. 2 of those were Zay Flowers. You take out a different position, and you had 6 rushing attempts by running backs.
Well, I also feel like the Ravens, and I've said this before to you guys, I feel like the Ravens are cursed. Right? If I'm a running back and I have to go to the Ravens, I would retire because I don't want to get hurt. Look at how many running backs have had major injuries in the past 4 years on the Ravens, like season-ending injuries. And it's a curse. It's like the Madden curse, but it's the Ravens curse. Like it's bad, and it's catching up to them when it matters, and it sucks. Because if you want that, you want to see them succeed, but they just can't finish.
The fact that the Ravens had the most rushing attempts in the NFL, right? And then they come into this game, Justice Hill had 3 attempts. Gus Edwards had 3 attempts. How are you only going to run your running back 6 times? Like how?
That's what I'm just talking about. Like, yeah, you had no run game, so that didn't help Lamar Jackson this game at all.
No, Lamar Jackson threw the ball 37 times. That's not Lamar Jackson's game, is to drop back 37 times. So I also want to read some other stats to you guys. So this is anytime the Ravens had made the playoffs with Lamar Jackson as the starter. Okay, 2018. Their lowest point total during the regular season was 20. In the playoffs, it was 17. 2019, again, regular season low was 20 points. Playoffs, it was 12. 2020, the lowest point total scored in a game was 17. In the playoffs, it was 3. Now, this year, it was 10 and 10. So, if you look at Lamar Jackson and the way that or whatever he's done on offense, he scores his lowest points of the whole year when it matters. And this is one of the things that kind of annoys me about the MVP, is because the MVP is only a regular season award. And here's the thing, like, how many non-playoff teams have you ever seen the MVP go to? Yeah, it always goes to the playoffs. I really feel that they need to change the MVP. It needs to go throughout the playoffs as well. Because honestly, at this point, I would probably give it to Christian McCaffrey or maybe even Patrick Mahomes at this point. As far as MVP, I know people would probably argue about Purdy, but he hasn't played at an MVP. Like, I need to see you play good the whole game. Like, that's what I need to see out of you. I need to see you go all 4 quarters and not help put your team down by 17 at the half. You know, or struggle to complete passes in the rain. You think MVPs can't play in bad weather? Because they can.
I feel like if CJ Stroud played the whole season, he should have been MVP on a non-playoff team. I mean,
playoffs.
He made playoffs. Sorry,
it was a good try.
Yeah, but still, I think CJ Stroud should have won MVP. Period, for what he did. If he had played the full season, outside of those, I think when he missed 2 games,
Yeah, he missed 2, I believe. Yeah, I think you're right. But
phenomenal.
now let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit, because
Fuck him.
the most underrated part of the Chiefs is their defense. Everyone wants to talk about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the offense, but guys, this defense has been doing stuff for a while that no one's talked about. Okay, let me talk about second half points. This is since week 14. This is the second half points. Week 7. What are you doing? What are you saying? 7?
No, 7 points allowed.
Yeah, that's the most
in the second half.
Week 14 against the Bills, 6 points given up. And this is second half points. Patriots, 7. Raiders, 3. Cincinnati, 0. Chargers, 6. Dolphins, 0. Bills, 7. Ravens, 3. Basically,
So if you're down by more than 7 in the second half, you scared?
yeah, I mean,
Hey, Lions gave up more than that in the second half of this game.
like
Then all of the points he just read combined.
and these are not, and it's not like they're playing bum offenses. They did it to the Bills twice. They did it to the Ravens. Dolphins shut them out. Like,
Their defense is good.
Second half adjustments.
Well, they have really good corners. So if they have the lead, they're tough to pass on. And what I really liked, what the Chiefs did on offense this game, I really liked it, because they basically went in there. I don't think they went in with a game plan, to be honest. I think they went in being like, okay, let's just take what they're going to give us, and we're going to go from there. Patrick Mahomes was not afraid to throw the ball to Kelce 3 or 4 yards down, just a 3 or 4 yard pass. He wasn't forcing things down the field. And I think it worked out in their favor, because they never gave the Ravens an opportunity for turnovers. And that's one of the things that the Ravens have thrived off of this year on defense, is suffocating you and forcing you into turnovers. Basically forcing you to try to do something that you're not trying to do. And Patrick Mahomes was not about that. That's why Kelce had 11 receptions, because he just was like, okay, I'm just going to throw to the closest guy to me. I mean,
the Ravens defense was also playing zone pretty.
They were playing zone. Kelce is smart enough, and Mahomes is smart enough. They've played together long enough. They know how to just get into that area, and Kelce will just sit there.
Well, Harbaugh said something. I don't know. Did you guys see the interview with Harbaugh? Coming out of this, he literally said that they saw some things on offense that they were going to be able to shut down in the second half. And Kansas City, got to remember, they scored on their first 2 possessions. They scored touchdowns, and then they got a field goals, I think, in the second quarter. Second half, they got shut out. They scored 0 points in the second half. So clearly, the Ravens saw something that Kansas City was doing.
But it doesn't matter. It didn't win them the game.
I know it didn't win the game, but what I'm saying is that something happened that second half that the Ravens obviously saw that Kansas City was doing and was able to stop it. What I'm trying to say is that I wonder if the Niners are going to go in and watch that second half tape to figure out what it was. The other thing, too, is that the Ravens, man, the Ravens should have won this game. They shot themselves in the foot.
No, they did shoot themselves in the foot, but how can you ignore like the 4 pass interference calls that just didn't go their way? Like, there were so many blatant misses. Even one of the announcers, I don't remember who it was, but it was like, yo,
I think it was Romo.
He was like, that's pass interference. Like, how do you, like, the NFL has a big officiating issue right now, and it's not even like the fact that the officials are on strike and we have to have this shit. Like, it's the officials. That's what makes me feel like the game is rigged. Look at what happened. Look at they're like doing it in your face. Like, oh, I'm just gonna look.
I know what play you're talking about. It's when the guy tripped.
There's 2 or 3 of them that are like.
Well, that's the most obvious one.
Yeah, no, it's just mind blowing. How they just do it in front of your face and everybody acts like it's okay. Like, I lose all respect for the NFL. I have no respect for the NFL because of this. Well, it took a lot away from the Raiders or Ravens.
Yeah, and I understand that, but the Ravens made a lot of mistakes on their own end. Okay, Lamar Jackson fumbled and lost it. Lamar Jackson threw an interception in the red zone. Zay Flowers diving with the ball,
Hanging in the forward, yeah.
not necessarily fully away from his body, but exposed to where it got punched out. Not only that, on right before that play, Zay Flowers decided to do a stupid taunting penalty right when you're getting momentum, and you take 15 yards right back from
Yeah,
it.
but how does he get taunting penalty and Travis Kelce gets 0 taunting?
Because he threw the football down at the player and then stood over him.
Doesn't matter.
That's
I'm fine.
all
I
it
get it. I get it,
was.
Mike. I get it. I get it. I'm
Throwing
fine
the
with
ball
it.
at the player.
I get it, Mike. He should have got the penalty, but make it at least an even playing field. There's so much shit that fucking Travis Kelce does, and he don't get fucking
Kelce don't
penalized
throw the
for
ball
it.
at the other player.
Yes,
So
because
taunting is taunting.
That's what it was.
yes, Tony, you have to understand the rule before you can argue it.
I don't care, man. It is what it is. Like, taunting is taunting. Yeah, you could throw the ball at somebody, but doing some shit in front of their face is the same shit.
You can't be biased against one team because you hate them.
I want to be biased against the fucking officiants because fuck them. They're like outside of taunting, bro. They just don't call penalties on the Chiefs, and this is not the first game. It's not. You cannot say this is the first game that did it. It's all season.
Hey, to talk shit on that officiating crew, how many times did the fucking head ref's voice crack?
A lot, and they even called it before the game. They even called this before the game. Somebody put out the statistics on the official. I don't remember his name, but they were like, that official calls more penalties on the home team than he does anything else. The Chiefs were the away team. What? So they're going to magically, that guy is the one who officiates their game. And magically, they win because of all these bullshit penalties that didn't get called. It could have changed the game, period.
I got some stats that are going to really make you mad about Mahomes. Let's go ahead and talk about Mahomes there for a minute. Mahomes playoff here. Win percentage 824 is now these are first, like, this is for anyone that has 10 plus starts in the playoff career. All right. Win percentage 824 first. Passing yards a game, our total yards a game, 309 first. TD to interception ratio, which is 39.7 first. Passer rating 106.3 first. Completion percentage 67.4 first. Tony, without talking about the refs, okay, is Patrick Mahomes the best playoff quarterback that we have seen? So,
No. What do you mean, like ever in our lifetimes?
yes.
Nah.
You can't say Brady.
Second best. Brady beat him. Brady he couldn't beat Brady twice when he had the opportunity. Brady beat him twice. Brady's a GOAT.
Yes, but he beat Brady. I mean, he lost to Brady while Brady was still in his prime, and Patrick Mahomes was just coming into the league.
So, no hope. Patrick Mahomes was still fucking elite. He was in the playoffs.
Tony, the guy's 28. He's barely in
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's been elite since he started.
I'm just trying to say stats don't lie.
I know stats don't lie. Patrick Mahomes, and I've been telling you guys this for the past few years. Patrick Mahomes is the next GOAT, right? But he's not going to be better than Brady simply because he couldn't beat him when he had the opportunity. He had 2 chances to beat him, and he didn't when it mattered. Period. I'm sorry. You could say he's young. You can use the argument that he was young. He was inexperienced. He was a badass ever since he came in the league. Everybody can attest to that. His stats prove it. He's great. You can read all these first stats. That's fine. Because it doesn't do anything to me. He's Mahomes. He's fucking great. He has a shitty ass team. He only has Kelce, who's on his last leg, and he's on his way out, and he's still in the Super Bowl.
What's he going to do without Kelce?
We'll fucking find out, but he's still going to be good. Like, he's still going to be good. That's the problem.
Yeah, one of the things I am actually interested to see, because I know we talked about this with Purdy. If we take away certain aspects away from the 49ers, what would Purdy be? If you take Travis Kelce and Andy Reid out of the picture, insert coach, insert new tight end. All right. Is Patrick Mahomes still going to be the same Patrick Mahomes? I think because he has elite talent, I think he's always going to be elite. But will he be what he is today? Is in Super Bowl? Like, you remember, this is their 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it and Andy Reid's one of the best offensive mind coaches ever. Like this dude is like insane. So when you take things away from Mahomes, do you think? Let's say we give him another wide receiver. Okay, maybe they can't draft the next Kelsey. Okay, and let's just say they don't have that. He doesn't have that blanket in Kelsey anymore, but he's got another really good wide receiver. Let's say Rashid Rice ends up being the wide receiver one, and he ends up being the guy that I think he's going to end up being. I think he's going to be really, really good. And they get another really, really good wide receiver. Will his play continue without missing a beat, without Reed and Kelsey?
Without Reed and Kelsey, I don't. I think his play degrades a little bit, but I don't think it degrades that much. Depends. They're not going to get some shitty ass coach like they're going to be Mahomes. Who the fuck do you want?
I agree with Tony on that. I'm actually looking at Mahomes' stats per season. Kelsey had a down year by far compared to what we are normally seeing from Kelsey, and it showed with Mahomes' stats.
Yep.
He was 1,100 yards less than what he had last year. 41 touchdowns last year passing, 27 this year. He had a career high in interceptions with 14. And
was responsible for 7 of those.
Huh?
Kadarius Toney was responsible like half interception.
And his QBR was the lowest of his career this year.
Yeah, I feel like Hill leaving. I feel like not Hill leaving, like he recently left. When Hill left, that put a big damper on what they were able to do because it put all of the onus on Travis Kelce, and that's why you saw him succeed in the beginning. But now he's getting old, and it's showing. I think that's. But in the beginning, that whole team was primed and ready to go because Hill was so electric, and he's still electric. I don't think he's ever not going to be electric. And you had Kelsey, who was electric, and you can't watch both at once. And so that's why that team was just fucking gunning. Now we're seeing the effects of with not having somebody as electric on both sides, or
I would say
two
this
electric.
Is probably Mahomes' second worst career season.
Mm-hmm.
Second only to 2019,
and he's still in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because you know what? If you watch Kansas City now, it seems like on offense they're actually clicking better than they have all season. And this is the time you want to do that. This is the time you want.
Yeah.
And I think
Kelsey had a down season, just like I said. Guess who has showed up in the playoffs when it matters?
Rice and Pacheco
and Kelsey
and Scott. Yeah,
they're coming up.
But their defense is also helping a lot too.
So is the NFL. I mean, the NFL wants a Taylor Swift fucking Super Bowl. So hey, remember, you guys are gonna win because Taylor Swift's gonna fucking win it for us.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about this is that they can be a little bit more conservative on offense because of that defense. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is not having to throw the ball, for 350, 400 yards every game for them to win. Now they can sit there and they can score 20, 24 points and feel comfortable because of their defense. Because their defense, I think, was a second or third and points against. I mean, I think they average only giving up like 16 points a game, somewhere around there. They're the same as like the San Francisco 49ers, Ravens. They just aren't as flashy. Like when you watch them, they're not a flashy defense. They don't rely on turnovers. They just stop you. That's just what they do. They just they stop you. They game plan well. Their corners are super sticky. And because of that, they're able to get a good pass rush and people make mistakes.
I look at it as like the way I look at their defense is like I look at the World Cup a few years ago, a couple World Cups ago, was when everyone was like watching like Messi and Ronaldo and they were like, oh, let's go all these teams, but nobody was looking at Germany, and Germany was like they were clicking on all gears the entire team, but they weren't splashing, and they fucking win the World Cup. You're like, what the?
Tony, you're talking about the wrong football.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's the same feeling. Fool.
So, all right, guys. I think we've dragged this on long enough.
Question for each of you: Kadarius Toney, active or inactive for the Super Bowl?
Inactive, and I hope they don't give him a ring. I hope they're like, "Hey, here's your ring if you can catch it," and he just goes.
Well, did you hear why they said he was inactive? Something about he had a chipped tooth that was pulled or something. But then he went on live and did a social media live saying the whole thing was a whole bunch of bullshit.
Oh, he's inactive for sure. If he's talking shit like that, if they're fighting like that, he's out. Fuck
Yeah.
out of my face.
He'll be cut, and I don't even know if he'll even get picked up with another team. I think Kadarius Toney could be out of the NFL.
Yep, he's so bad.
So, all right. Well, with that said, thank you for joining us. Again, subscribe, give us a like below, and we will be back with some Super Bowl talk.
What's your opinion on everything, Matt?
Fuck, bro. Really? Damn.
Well, I'm glad he finally.
All right, guys.
All right,
We'll see you later. And I hope both teams lose. Fuck them.
It's a tie.
Hey, don't be mad just because the Raiders are having Niners and Chiefs painted in their end zones.
Fuck them.